once again, my fellow Planet Coaster fans out there. Welcome back to another video here on the channel with the game that we all love so much. This is not, as you can see, Lansdowne Park from my Franchise with Friends video series, nor is it Rebaville, my other series that I have just kind of recently started. Nope, today we are someplace brand new. I want to introduce you all to Action Jack's Speed Zone Park. The idea behind this little park is kind of, if you've ever been to the Smoky Mountains, or if you've been to Silver Dollar City in Branson, then you've probably seen, I guess even technically, I haven't ever been to Florida, so I can't say for sure, but I guess like iDrive maybe in Florida, where Disney and all that is, in Orlando, where you just kind of have this main parkway strip that just has all these little attractions on each side of the road. Putt-putt golf, go-kart tracks, little tiny amusement parks, like Fun Spot America, maybe something kind of like that. I got the idea to build this sort of park for the new DLC because I was looking at all the different stuff that we just got in the brand new Planet Coaster 2 Sorcery DLC, all the new rides and stuff, and I was looking at everything and I was like, none of this really fits any of the parks that I'm working on right now. So what do I want to build that I can kind of showcase something from this pack? And the one ride which I kind of think was a weird addition to the DLC. Like, there's so many other different kind of rides and stuff that they could have added to this DLC. So many things we don't have. Basic amusement park rides, you know, like the Monster or, you know, a Trabant or something like that. So many different ideas that they could have went with, but they went with this really weird kind of like swing ride. And at first, I was just kind of like, I just don't think I'm ever going to use this. But honestly, it kind of reminded me of one of those attractions that you would kind of see at one of those parks. Like I said, one of those little like roadside attraction parks. Like, you know, you're driving down the road, you know, and you're coming down through here and there's this go-kart track, you know, and then you see this weird kind of contraption just kind of swinging people in the air. It's very much a lot like the bungee swings that you see at some of these parks like this, or even some of them have the shot towers like that, which is why I decided to include a shot tower. But yeah, the Gale Force ride just kind of, it made me think, you know what, I think that would go really good in one of these little roadside attraction parks. That's kind of how I saw it working. So then I got to thinking, all the way back in 2017, I did a park kind of very similar to this. In fact, a lot similar to this. You could actually say that this is its reboot in a way. So there used to be this website, and a lot of you old Planet Coaster and Roller Coaster Tycoon fans probably remember it, Shy Guys World. Shy Guys World was a great website before there was like social media sites, and you know, like YouTube was good for a lot of us to show off our stuff, or there was, you know, Discord where a bunch of people, you know, could come together as a community. There was forums, like website forums, and Shy Guys World was kind of that. It was a place where us, as a bunch of fans of Roller Coaster Tycoon and roller coaster and theme park sim games, could all come together and we could discuss our favorite games and showcase our work and you know, do screenshots and stuff and just post it. It was a whole lot of fun, and I really, really loved that website. It came from the Atari forums, but that's a whole different story. I could probably do an entire video on the history of Shy Guys World, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I kind of want to focus on what we're doing today. But so Shy Guys World would occasionally do little challenges that you could participate in. And all the way back in 2017, I decided to participate in their 2017 Winter Challenge Park. So what this was, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Kinderly. I'm sure some of you guys know who Kinderly is if you follow the Planet Coaster stuff. I believe he created a little park that was kind of like this. Not exactly like this, because it was our job in the challenge to turn it into our visions. But he made a little theme park with a go-kart track, and it had a little putt-putt golf thing over here. And, you know, it was kind of a rundown, dilapidated place. So our first challenge was to clean it up, and then, you know, kind of work from there, and then reskin stuff. You know, we could paint it and we could make it however we wanted. So that was kind of what I did. That was my whole challenge park was this. It was this is almost an exact duplication of what I did for that challenge. I was one of my favorite parks I've always done in Planet Coaster. You can grab it on the Steam workshop. You can head over there. You can find it. I think just search for Shy Guys World, and you'll probably be able to maybe find it. It might pop up. I may even put a link down below if you guys want to go check it out. But yeah, this was kind of what I did for that challenge. And now with Planet Coaster 2, and like I said, when I saw this ride, it automatically made me think of one of these little roadside attraction parks. I thought, I want to go back and I want to remake that park, because now I don't have any restrictions, you know, like the challenge park was actually done. So there's certain things we couldn't do, certain boundaries we had to work within, and all that. So I wanted to come back in and redo my vision and recreate it the way I want. And as I'm sitting here talking, I'm just realizing that every single one of my go-kart tracks are broken down. That's because I don't have any mechanics, so I better hire some real quick. Let me do that just real quick. We'll hire a couple. We'll take care of that. We're probably going to need some. I don't have any janitors. I have no staff in this park whatsoever, so we're going to hire some. There we go. Okay, so where was I? But yes, so I wanted to come back in. I wanted to recreate that park the way that I can now, because there's just so many different options and stuff we can play with. But I kind of kept it pretty close to my original design. I just kind of expanded things out a little bit. So like I said, my vision is it's one of those roadside attractions, and maybe, you know, the park kind of started as a go-kart track, you know, just a single one, and then they expanded, and then they had 2, and then 3, and then he started adding in some other, maybe some flat rides and stuff here to really bring that action to the action park kind of thing. So this is what I've been kind of working on for about a week now. Like the day after the Sorcery DLC was announced was when I kind of started working on this, and it's been a slow progress. You wouldn't think so, because, you know, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a park, and doesn't seem like I did that much. But I have also been working, so, you know, I don't have a whole lot of time to devote to the game and stuff, but I've been kind of coming home after work and just kind of spending a little bit of time each night working on this to kind of bring it to life. And there's still a lot more things that I want to do in the park to kind of really bring it to life. In fact, this isn't going to be the only little park that I'm going to build. No, I am actually going to do an entire street, an entire parkway of little mini attractions. We'll probably do like a putt-putt golf course. I want to do something like the island, which if you've been to the Smokies, if you've been to Pigeon Forge, you probably know the island. The island is a little shopping center that also has like a big huge Ferris wheel in the middle of it. It's got a fountain show. They got one of the Nebula rides there, but they also have a flying theater. So my idea is to kind of incorporate that in here as well, and probably do maybe a water park too. You know, and then we'll add some restaurants and stuff like that. Like I don't know if S. Dan Wolf has his Crockett's breakfast thing on the workshop. I'm gonna check and see, but Crockett's would be one of those things that I really kind of want to add in here, just as kind of one of those little roadside restaurants that if you've ever eaten at Crockett's, oh my god, it's so good. Every time I go to the Smokies, I always eat at Crockett's for breakfast, every single time just about. So I want to add, like, you know, different kind of restaurants and different kinds of attractions and stuff down here, and I really kind of want to make this look like the Parkway at Branson or in Pigeon Forge, or, you know, kind of iDrive, maybe in Orlando, maybe something like that. That's my whole thing on what I want to kind of do here. But I had to start somewhere, and I wanted to start with this. So this is kind of the main thing that's going to kind of bring everything together right here. So yeah, Action Jack's Speed Zone Park. I don't have a sign made yet for it. It is coming. I ran out of time before I could do that. I just really kind of wanted to get enough together so I could do this video and get it out as fast as possible, because I didn't get home. The DLC literally came out yesterday at the time I'm actually filming this right now, and I worked, so I didn't get home in enough time that I could actually do this and get this finished and stuff for yesterday, like a lot of other creators and stuff where they got it early. But I wanted to kind of come in here, and I want to do a video today, the day after the DLC came out, just to kind of showcase what I'm doing here. So we're going to use a few things from that new DLC pack. Obviously, we've already using the Gale Force ride. So it's one of these rides that I think not a whole lot of people are kind of looking at and kind of doing anything with. I'm not sure how many other creators out there are actually going to use it, but I thought, you know, that would be a good opportunity for me to kind of jump in and showcase this little guy off a little bit, because like I said, I think this is the perfect kind of ride or the perfect kind of park that would showcase this sort of ride. You know, this definitely doesn't seem like something you would see at a big major theme park. I think there's only one that's ever been installed, and that's at Wiener Pretzel or Weiner Pretzel. I think's the name of that park. I think it's in Germany. It's the only one I know of. But like I said, I really thought this just feels like one of these roadside attraction rides, and a go-kart track park kind of fits that whole theme for it. And then of course we're going to use the Flying Theater, because I'm going to do my own version of the island over here, and so we're going to throw that in there. And like I said, the island has their Flying Theater, so I'm going to kind of like redo that one into my own kind of vision for that, kind of replicate it. So that's that. And then of course, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of a water park, maybe some putt-putt golf. Everybody loves miniature golf, so we'll do some stuff like that. So where is this little fictional parkway entertainment drive kind of located? Well, a long time ago, back in Planet Coaster 1, I did a little park. Some of you guys may remember it if you've kept up with the channel for a while. I had Silverwood Theme Park. Silverwood was not a recreation of the actual Silverwood amusement park. No, mine was a combination of Dollywood and Silver Dollar City. So silver from Silver Dollar City, and then wood from Dollywood, so Silverwood, and that's kind of how I did it. But I had plans to do an entire town outside of the park itself. Now obviously I kind of stopped playing Planet Coaster, and now Planet Coaster 2 is out, so probably won't ever get around to actually ever finishing that. But I was kind of thinking, you know what, if I'm going to do a little parkway drive full of roadside attractions and stuff and hotels and all that other stuff, I just feel like maybe the town where Silverwood is located would be the perfect example of that. Much like how Dollywood is in Pigeon Forge and Silver Dollar City is in Branson, and that's typically the kind of idea that I'm taking from. I thought, you know what, let's do that. Let's make our town a little fictional town, a tourist attraction town, and that's where Silverwood is. And not only Silverwood Park, but I also did Silverwood Zoo in Planet Zoo. Another thing I never really got around to finishing. Maybe one day I'll finish that. But so Silverwood Theme Park, Silverwood Zoo, all set in this little fictional town that I call Bransonburg. And yes, it's a totally way to cheap out on the name. It's a combination between Branson and Gatlinburg. It's Bransonburg. But this is Action Jack's Speed Zone Park, located in Bransonburg, wherever. I don't know, Tennessee, I don't know. I don't know the state it's in. I'm never probably going to ever actually say what state it's in. We're just going to say it's one of those states, you know, that something like this would be in, with some mountains and stuff in it. Could be a fictional state, maybe a state that doesn't actually exist. It's much like mine, a state of confusion. Yeah, I really liked how this came out, and I hope you guys like it too, and I hope you guys are interested in seeing where it goes. So we have, other than Gale Force, which is the new ride right here that is in this Sorcery DLC, which, I mean, it's kind of a cool ride. Like, I wasn't really excited about this ride when I first saw it in the Sorcery DLC. And I think it's kind of going to be a sleeper ride in a way. But I think it's kind of fun. I would never ride this. Never. I mean, I might, but it would take a lot to get me on this. But the guests really seem to like it. They're definitely paying, I think, $10 each to ride on this. It's a slow capacity ride. Only fits 4 people at a time for the ride. But I could see some theming potential with this, and I think honestly this is going to be kind of a sleeper ride in this DLC. Everybody's talking about the Flying Theater, everybody's talking about the Blitz Coaster, and another one that I wasn't too excited about, but it's kind of growing on me, is that Family Coaster that we're getting. I think that it would be even better if it had boomerang options. I don't think it does. I haven't actually looked at it yet, but everybody was saying before the DLC came out said it was not going to have a boomerang. But with no track limits, I could probably fix that. I got people walking through my fountain right there. We're going to do an arcade, so I'm going to bring all my arcades and stuff back over. And then we have Spin Out, which is our bumper cars here in my little action park right here. I thought, you know, with go-karts, this was probably the next thing they added after the go-kart tracks, you know, because it kind of fits in with that. We have a total of 3 different go-kart tracks right now. We have this one right here, which is on multiple levels. I see there's probably, I think, about 3 or 4 tracks like this in Pigeon Forge, where it kind of goes up and they go around right through here, and then kind of goes over and they come back down. It's almost kind of like a figure 8 track in a way. And then the second one I built was this one back here, which was a little bit longer. I wanted to do something more like an actual racetrack. So I was thinking like, you know, F1 tracks and things like that. So I wanted to kind of do something a little bit longer. I also wanted to have it interact with this over here. So I was able to kind of swing it around, come underneath of where it goes over top right there, and then come underneath of here, back around, and then kind of you got the straight stretches for the long speed zones kind of, and then from there. And then the last one I have over here is just a simple oval track. Nothing special here. This one's for the smaller riders and stuff like that. So yeah, something very simple. This was the last one I added. Literally added it last night. So I think it kind of fits in really, really good. Another thing you'll notice is that I have a lot of like floating covers over top of the queue lines. Don't worry, I will get to that. I also want to talk about these right here. So these barriers, the red and white barriers that are going around the actual go-kart tracks, as well as the tires and stuff here too. Completely stole that idea from Mineral. If you guys are not watching Mineral's channel, I highly suggest you go subscribe to his channel. Mineral is a fantastic Planet Coaster creator. He does some really, really cool stuff. He's working on a little park right now called Silver Sands, which is a little bit like kind of what I'm doing here. Mine's a little different because, you know, like I said, I'm doing an entire kind of area, like one of those tourist drives with small little parks. His is kind of the same thing, but mine's more of a go-kart track, and his is an actual little small amusement park. And then he's also building little attractions and stuff around it. So we're kind of doing the same thing. I'm not gonna say he didn't really inspire me to do this, but it was more of the inspiration came from I really wanted to redo that old park. I've been looking at it for a little bit now, and I guess when I saw this, it just kind of gave me the idea that I wanted to come back in and kind of remake this park. So my ideas are a little different than what he's doing. But anyway, I highly suggest you guys go watch Mineral. Mineral just recently did an episode of Silver Sands where he had Fog on there, another legend in Planet Coaster creations. And they were showcasing his little go-kart track that he did. And they did this really cool thing with these barriers and stuff. So these aren't actually, like, you would kind of glance at them and you think, oh, that's art shapes. No, it's not. It's actually the powered rotating ride. So if you go into Tracked Rides custom, it's like the Omni Mover is what this is. With the no track limits mod, I can pop this baby down right here, bring it over here. I can twist this all the way 90 degrees like that, turn it sideways, and then I can kind of put the track any way I want to make barriers. And that's kind of how that works. And I thought, you know what? That's really cool. So totally told Mineral I was going to steal some ideas from his park. And that was one of the ones that I really wanted to take. That is just absolutely brilliant what Fog and Mineral came up with this to do this way. I never in a million years would have thought to do that. This is something that a lot of us have been doing since Planet Coaster 1. I didn't really do it too much, but it was definitely something that, you know, some of the bigger creators and stuff they started doing with a lot of their parks and stuff, and doing things like this. And we can do it now in this. So it's not just these barriers right here that goes around the track and stuff that is made out of that rotating ride. There's also this right here. So this concrete is also a ride. This is actually the family train coaster, another tracked ride right here, which is this guy, the Pearl Rides Family Choo Choo Train. So this one, if you turn it upside down or sideways, let me turn it upside down here to kind of show you. It's got this really cool concrete texture on it. And Fog used this to make paths and little barriers and stuff. And it's just such a great idea. So I wanted to do that too. When I originally was first started working on this, I was actually going to, and to be honest, I was actually working on my go-kart tracks before Silver Sands episode came out where he was doing go-kart tracks. I had already started working on this. So I was kind of working on this, and then I saw what they were doing. I was like, oh, that's going to be much easier to do these barriers and stuff using that than to use art blocks, because I was totally going to use art blocks to make different little sections and stuff and go around through here. And this, I actually started off doing wall pieces. I was using plaster walls to do this. And then I thought, you know what? Since this works so well for these barriers here, maybe I can get that to curve even better if I use the little train ride like what Fog used. So I tried that, and I think it turns out really, really good. I still got to do the inside. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's still work in progress on this, but that was just, it was such a brilliant idea that they came up with. And I totally, you know, I went on to Minerals, I watched his video, I gave it a thumbs up, I even commented, and I told him, I said, dude, I'm totally gonna steal some ideas from this. And he was like, steal away. So I did. But props to Fog, props to Mineral. You guys go subscribe to Mineral's channel. Really, you gotta go check out not just his Silver Sands series, which is just brilliant, but also he's got the Le Jour Magique, I think is the name of his other little park he's working on, which is, it's so creative. It's so much stuff that they're doing. I can't speak today. So much detail in that park, and just absolutely brilliant. So go subscribe to his channel, watch him, as well as my stuff. So highly recommend it. If you guys want to see some really cool Planet Coaster creations, then you'll be able to find it on his channel. And also Jash, Gash. Guys, go check out his channel too. He's got something that they just started. Him and Kinderly are actually working on it. It's called Electric Oceans or Electric Dreams, something like that. Can't remember the name of it, It's a very, very long episode. It's about an hour long. It's only one single episode so far, but I'm sure there will be more eventually. And it's a lot of cool stuff in that too. But anyway, this is the beginning of my, I don't want to say it's a new park because it's going to be multiple little things kind of down here. So this is the beginning of my newest creation that you guys can follow here on the channel. So Action Jack's Speed Zone Park, soon to be the Oasis, which is what I'm going to call my version of the island, and then a water park, which I need to kind of figure out some kind of silly little name for that. But anyway, I think that's kind of gonna be it. I don't really have a whole lot to really show off. I mean, I really liked this was just basically almost an exact recreation from what I did in Planet Coaster 1 in my little challenge park. We've got the little arcade that's kind of be coming in here. Got to bring all that stuff over. I'm going to do this is the pit stop over here where people can get their food and drinks and stuff. I'm going to change this up, and I'm going to move that off of that wall. I'm going to put it over here instead. Kind of a little semicircular crescent moon shaped building over here. Kind of put the little plaza. I think that'll go really, really well right there. I also need to do something to keep people from walking through my fountain, which honestly, this fountain, I just kind of found this on the workshop, plopped it down in here. It's not going to stay. I'm going to end up doing my own. I just really needed something right there to kind of bring some things together and to fill up some space. So, do I have anything else to talk about in this? No, I don't believe I do. In fact, I've probably already rambled on more than I needed to about this park, but hopefully you guys enjoy it and you like what I'm doing with this and you want to see more. So give it a thumbs up, comment down below, let me know what you think of the creative use of Gale Force right here. I think this is a perfect way to kind of showcase this little ride. I didn't really do anything as far as customizing it. There's no theming to it or anything. It's just kind of plopped down here, but I mean, that's kind of the way I think that this ride would kind of be, you know, nothing fancy, nothing really outlandishly themed or anything. It would just kind of be plopped down in kind of a little side road attraction kind of place like this. That's how I feel about it anyway. Are you guys going to use Gale Force in your parks out there? Do you have any ideas for it? What's your favorite ride from the new DLC that just came out? I know it's probably going to be the Blitz Coaster, but you know, for me, the Blitz Coaster and the Flying Theater are the two best parts of that entire thing. So those are my two favorite rides. But what's yours? All right, guys, I'm going to head out of here. Thanks for watching my little video here. If you want to see more, like I said, comment, thumbs up, let YouTube, you know, hit up the algorithm so I can get more views and, you know, kind of keep doing this stuff. So if you guys want to see more stuff from me, then, you know, YouTube's got to push it. So, all right, I'm out of here. You guys have a great rest of the day. Hope you're enjoying the new Sorcery DLC from Planet Coaster 2. I will see you in the next video, wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and from Bransonburg, you guys have a great night.